All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Thursday edition of Jam Bets. I'm joined, as always, by Mama Mia. I am Tike from Jam Bets. We've got an awesome game to watch tonight, divisional game, pretty much a playoff game as far as I'm concerned. Two teams from the NFC North battling it out. It's going to be in Detroit tonight inside the Dome. Their previous matchup was in Green Bay, which the Lions did win. So we've got a couple of things we're going to be going over today. We've got some players we're going to be watching out for that have some big games, some players to avoid. We've got some injuries we wanted to call out, make sure everyone was aware of, and then we're going to do a quick dive into the NFL standing, specifically to the NFL or NFC North, and how everything's shaking out. So, Mamma Mia, would you like to kick us off with players that you think we should watch out for tonight?
I would love to. So tonight, I'm pretty partial to the Detroit Lions. I am a little worried about them though, but I do believe in order for them to be successful tonight, it's going to have to be the Knuckles and Sonic show. Yep. Gibbs and Monty are going to have to eat up that clock and take care of business there. I think that 1-2 punch will wear down the Packers defense. I think I think that those two guys are just so much fun to watch, and I love that they're now characters. I think that is so much fun. So I'm very excited to see them go off tonight. I think they're going to have to control the clock and make sure that they keep Jordan Reed. I'm sorry, Jordan Love off the field. So that's who I'm picking for my. I got two tonight for my guys who are I'm expecting to go off and have very good games tonight. I think that it's very possible that they both score a touchdown. Yeah, I think that it's going to be a get your popcorn ready kind of game. So what do you have for your player that's going to go off? Players that's going to go off, Mike? Mike.
Before I get to that, I think the Sonic Knuckles is pretty hilarious. Um, Two video game characters that I think collect rings in an
Yes.
organization that doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. So maybe that's something they can
Yet.
strive for.
Yet.
Yeah,
Yet.
yet. Both of them to score a touchdown is a bold call. I think they've done it a good amount of times this year. Packers and Lions are actually both in the top 10 of running back rushing attempts inside of the 5, 10, and 20-yard line to goal.
Yep.
But both defenses have been extremely stellar at stopping running backs from scoring inside the red zone. The Lions have only allowed 7 running back touchdowns from inside the red zone this year. Or I'm sorry, Lions have allowed 7, and Packers have only allowed 9. So both defenses stopping running backs, but both offenses are giving their running backs the ball often in those tight window situations. So that'll be something to watch out for. The player that I think is that I'm going to be watching out for tonight, I think he's going to have a big game. He's been a little bit slow the past couple weeks. I'm picking Jamison Williams. Packers play zone coverage at about 21, 22% of all of their defensive plays. Jamison Williams is the go to target for Goff versus man coverage. He has 3.43 yards uh, per route ran when facing man coverage. It's third in the league. He's only behind A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson when facing man coverage. He does very well against man coverage, and we'll see if the Packers try to play aggressive, bring an extra person, get into that man coverage. If they do that, I can see Jamison Williams having a pretty big game. Packers also run cover 2 at about 25% of all plays. And Jamison Williams' yards per route ran actually increases versus cover 2. He's at 4.9 yards per route ran, which is, I think, like 15th or 16th in the league. Still not too bad. When it comes to cover three, Amon St. Brown is the go-to target for Jared Goff. But Brown or Williams is, I think, in the 40 tier for the NFL there. But the Packers don't run cover three, they run about a 33%, so it will be frequent. But during passing plays, we'll see where they're at with that 33%. So I'm expecting Williams to have a pretty decent game. I think he is probably going to exceed 10 fantasy points would be my guess. I think he's estimated to be right around 8 or 9. I think he'll exceed that, assuming that this game is no, I think he's going to exceed it regardless. All right, Mama, do you have any players you'd like to avoid?
I had to really think about this because it just seems like there's a lot of offensive power in both sides of this game. I don't want to pick on Jordan Love because he's kind of wily, and their coaching is LaFleur is he's very creative. He's very sly, so he could pull a fast one on our Detroit Lions defense. But I really think that the Packers defense is going to struggle. They are missing a couple of their players tonight, which we'll go over in a little bit. So I couldn't figure out an offensive player that I would sit. I think there's potential for Tyler Kroft. Josh Jacobs is, he's just having a great season. And, then you have Laporta and Brock Wright on Detroit, who can come out of nowhere. So I think the Packers defense are going to have their hands full with the multitude of directions that Ben Johnson is going to call tonight. So I'm going with the Packers D tonight to struggle.
I think
they're going to give up 4 touchdowns.
four touchdowns they're going to give up? You think any of those will be from special teams, or will those all be offensive touchdowns by the Lions?
Well, I think they'd probably all be offensive touchdowns, but I am really expecting to see some special teams action from both of these teams. They're both, they dial up stuff that nobody else does. I mean, I think if the opportunity prevails where Campbell thinks that he could do a fake punt, I would not be surprised to see that. There's also, trickery done on, blocked. I'm hoping that Detroit can block a field goal tonight. I want revenge on that.
that would be really nice to see. That would be see the Lions nice. block a kick of theirs.
Yeah, I think that give them a little taste of their own medicine there. But I think the Packers defense, the goal is to keep them on the field and just wear them out. And we'll talk about, the injuries in a few minutes, but some of that is probably going to come into play for both teams.
Yeah, and the Lions, I think, are leading the NFL in points scored per game. I think they're scoring like 32 points a game, so 4 touchdowns is absolutely in the realm there.
It's not enough.
You don't think that'll be enough? You're expecting a high-scoring game here?
Well, I wanted to say, that, in superfan talk that, Detroit should win like 98-3. They're home, and they got the Packers. They got to put them away, but in reality, I think it's going to be a very, very close game. And I think it might be like 28-27. I mean, this is a real get your popcorn ready game.
This is a get your popcorn ready game. This is probably the best Thursday night game. I mean, not that I pay too much attention to who plays every Thursday or remember who's playing every Thursday, but I feel like there's not many divisional games that have this much impact on Thursday night. So this will be a great one to watch.
Absolutely.
And for the trick plays, we'll see if the Lions run another. I feel like Dan Campbell's been wanting to get one of his offensive linemen a touchdown. Ooh. But I don't know if it's going to happen tonight. I think Taylor Decker's out but I think Decker's is who they normally throw the ball to. But who knows? It's Dan Gamble, so he may end up throwing something, or the Packers may even try giving him a taste of their own medicine. That would be that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think you're going to see some stuff that's going to try to surprise the other side real quick too. So yeah, I think whoever has the ball last might even be an overtime game. I would not be surprised if this game goes into overtime at all. Not at all.
No, I wouldn't either. That would be, I mean, that would just be an epic game if this goes to overtime.
Yeah, it's got the potential. That's for sure.
All right, so my player that I have that I think is going to have a subpar night, I'm picking Jalen Reed. Now, Romeo Dobbs is out, so that does give a little bit of concern that maybe Reed will get some additional attention. But the Lions implement cover four at about 20% of their defensive plays, which is much higher than the typical NFL team. They also run man coverage at almost 50%. So they're really just bouncing around those two defenses for better of 70% of defensive snaps. There will be cover three and cover two for the remaining 30%. But with those man coverage and cover four, Jalen Reed does not succeed while playing against those types of coverages. Now, I don't know if that is Packers scheming him to not be the go-to target against those types of defensive schemes. But he has really struggled. I mean, really struggled. His separation on routes versus man and cover four is horrendous. He's not getting targets versus those two coverages, and I'm not expecting him to have that big of a game. I think he's listed everywhere as the number one receiver for Green Bay tonight, yardage wise. Fantasy wise, I think he's projected like 15, 16 points for PPR. I think that'll be very tough for him to get. Now, could be wrong. Now that Romeo Dobbs is out, maybe they'll move him, change his types of routes that he's running. But historically, he has really struggled against the type of defenses that the Lions run. So that'll be to keep an eye on.
So also, I think the last time they met, Reed had the highest targets and the highest catches, which I think was only 7 catches. And then it was Christian Watson. And Christian Watson, for some reason, I think he caught 3 passes. So I think that there was a lot of pressure. And you said they're playing cover 4 defense. The Lions are playing cover 4, which is going to make sure that these guys aren't getting back far, which I think is something that Jordan Love would like to see. And I also think that Joseph Kirby scored an interception touchdown last time they met. So I believe he'll be covering Reed. And, we'll see if Jordan Love, decides, yeah, I'm gonna try that again. So it's, those are the potential things that could be going through his head. So, yeah, I think Reed struggled last time, and I agree that if they can put the pressure, if the Detroit Lions can put the pressure on Love, he'll make mistakes. Again, just a little concerned about some of these injuries.
Yeah, and we can get into the injuries now. There's some pretty big names missing on both ends. I'll go over just a couple to start. On the Lions side, mentioned Taylor Decker. I think he's the left tackle, or he's the right tackle? Left tackle?
Left tackle.
Yeah, I think Penei Sewell is the right tackle. So Taylor Decker is out. He's listed as out. He hasn't practiced all week. I'm not sure what his specific injury is. And the Lions already have a plethora of injuries on their defensive side. Adding on to that this week, DJ Reader has been listed out. I think that is almost the Lions' entire front 7 defense that will be out for this game from their projected starters. So that is very concerning. But their defense has been lights out, and I'm sure Dan Campbell's using that as motivation for the next man up. From the Packers side, a big missing component is going to be Jair Alexander. I think he's typically going to be guarding St. Brown, so
Right.
that is a little concerning for my pick of Jamison Williams. But I think Jair may play just one half of the field, so we'll see where everyone's being lined up at. Um, Packers also have another defensive back. He's their second string cornerback, but he's out. Corey Blatantine, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He will be missing
Valentine.
tonight's game.
Valentine. Valentine.
Ballantyne, really? Okay. So he's going to be out. Romeo Dobbs, their number two receiver, is listed out for tonight. Kenny Clark, he will be playing, but he's been limited in practice this week. And then their linebacker Edgerrin Cooper for the Packers is also out tonight. So there's a lot of big injuries in a very impactful game. We'll see, how these next players come up, how they're developing. It's two teams that develop their backups very well. So we'll be interested to see how that continues to go. Mamma Mia, did I miss anyone there?
No, I think when you said the whole defensive line of Detroit was going to be out, that just took the air out of my sails a little bit. But again, somebody's got to show up and maybe, you know, do a better job. But I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on that cover four that you talked about. Um, but we'll see. And you know what else that opens the door for? That opens the door for Josh Jacobs to have a big game. So, I mean, I'm okay if Josh Jacobs gets a lot of points, running yards. Just don't let him in the end zone. That just put your foot down then, which I think would be okay, because they're gonna try that. I mean, they also want to keep that defense, which is injured, on the field, right? That's the strategy that they're gonna want to do as well. So probably be a low scoring first half and then an explosion in the second half. But I think you covered everything. I'm really missing that linebacker Anzalone. I think he's really a good player, and he just can make such great plays. So they are injured. But both sides have some holes to be filled. So we'll have to watch and see.
Yeah, Anzalone, I think he has what, two pick sixes on the year, dropping into those coverages. I can't remember who
He's
it was, but I was listening to them talk about him. He's a smart player. They're definitely going to miss him on the defensive side of the ball.
For sure, for sure. They also the coming back from injury, Carlton Davis and cornerback mostly are back on Detroit, so that might help out. But yeah, they might have to be doing some new schemes too. Aaron Glenn might have to dial up some stuff to confuse Jordan Love a little bit more.
Well, I hope he confuses them often, because I do not want the Packers to win this game.
Me either.
So, Ma, you said that you've already got the Lions to win. What'd you say, 96-3?
Well, probably 98-3, but no, I really think that the Lions are going to win, but by a very slim margin. I think it could be like 28-27. It's going to be a very tight game.
Well,
I think.
the spread on the game is 3.5.
Yeah,
So you're
yeah,
you're thinking the Packers cover that?
they could. They could. I mean, with all the injuries on defense, I think it's going to be a real classic battle. Whoever. I think it might be an outwit kind of game. Whoever does something that catches the other team off guard, or a fall down from a defensive back. That I've been seeing that a lot. Like all of a sudden, the guy he's on the ground, and then the receiver's wide open, and boom, gone. So something fluky like that's going to probably make it a deciding play in the game. I think both these teams are pretty well disciplined. I don't think they have a lot of penalties as a rule. So, I mean, I'm not expecting a sloppy game.
Yeah, I think it's also going to be close. If the Lions blow them out and beat them by 20 points, might as well just fast forward the season and just see them play in the Super Bowl. If they overcome all these injuries in this tight of a division or
Yeah.
divisional matchup, you know, power to them. I do think it's going to be a lot to overcome with what they're facing. So I agree with you. I think it's going to be a tight game, and I am expecting some high scoring as well. Now, I think maybe in the start they're going to be feeling each other out. I think there'll be a lot of Montgomery, right up the gut to start this game, kind of set the tone. And I can see the Packers matching that energy and doing the same thing with Jacobs. We've got two big bruising running backs, and I think both teams are going to utilize them early and open that passing game up at the end of the year or end of the game.
I agree. Packers have a record of 9-3, and in the division so far they're 1-2. Detroit is 11-1, and their division is 3-0 so far. So they're king of the mountain right there. And right behind them, the Vikings are 10-2, and in the division they're 2-1. So the Packers are desperately in need of winning this game. So they're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at the Detroit Lions. They are going to come with everything they possibly can come with. And, I look at that and I think the Lions have got to keep the pressure on the Packers. It seemed like at the end of the Bears game or the second half of the Bears game, the Lions kind of took their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. They cannot do that against this team tonight. They have got to keep that, stand on the gas pedal the whole game, because Packers are going to be doing the same thing. They're going to come with everything they possibly can. So it's going to be fun because Campbell's a risk taker, and LaFleur, he's kind of tricky. So I can see him trying to outsmart Campbell tonight, and hopefully. So there'll be some, like we talked about, some unpredictable plays and things like that are really, if they catch somebody off guard just enough, that's what's going to make the difference, I think, in this game.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how aggressive these coaches go and see if the aggressiveness works in their favor or not.
Right.
This is a must win for the Packers. They've got the one, as you mentioned, the one win in the division. Bears unfortunately have no wins in the division, so Bears are in fourth place, Packers in third place. Vikings have 2 wins, and Lions have 3 wins. So if the Packers go down in the division 1 win and 3 losses, it might be pretty hard for them to get into a wild card position. Assuming they lose, I don't think they take the division from the Lions at that point. So this really is a must-win game. I can see the Packers covering the 3.5 points with how much is on the line.
So what do you think the final score will be, number one?
I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think it's gonna be a little bit high scoring. I'll say 28-30.
Ooh. Detroit, right?
Detroit, yes. I think Detroit will win.
Okay.
Well,
so you don't have them covering the spread either.
Yeah, 28-30, that would cover the spread.
I thought it was 3.5.
It is.
Well, 28, 29, 30 too. It doesn't cover the
You don't
spread.
count 28. It'd be 29-30. All right, we're going to have to edit this part out.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It's fun.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I was an accountant. I can't figure out that stuff.
No.
And don't take my word for it. I was talking to some friends of mine today that I'm in a pick'em league, and I'm not doing so good in that. But I do think that this is one game that I'm going to get right.
I think you're going to get it right as well. All right, everyone. That's all we have. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you guys for the Sunday games.
Oh, wait, we got a special episode coming up between then, so look out for that coming soon. We're going to have a special guest come and talk to us about those 49ers. Yep.
Yeah, that'll be a very special guest. Can't wait.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.